Hey, I'm Alexander Hain, and I'm here with Mike Atron for round three of the Team Draft Super League. So how's your day going so far, Mike?
Could be better. Rough start to the draft so far.
But you're 1-1. You beat Steve and
I
lost
personally,
to
yes,
yeah.
I one and one personally, but teammates are need some work.
Well, I mean you're doing pretty well for your team though, right? You're the only one to get a win so far.
Yeah, that's true. Uh, I think our decks are worse than all of yours, but we thought the
It's
draft was pretty
variance. I
close.
mean that happens sometimes, right?
Sure, yeah, you can't win a ball, of course.
Yeah. I'm just sitting here. I'm enjoying some nice goat stew. I didn't eat all of it earlier today because I wanted to just still have the taste. Still didn't want to be full. I wanted to eat some more, but
Well, you're getting a nice taste of us as we're playing
yeah,
too.
yeah. So far it's been working out for me. I've been fortunate with my draws, and I mean I'm pretty happy with where we stand right now. But it could always go downhill. And I think you and I actually are the deciding match if we go to the ninth round. That'd be pretty
Right.
exciting.
It seems rather unlikely, but if we get there, I think matchup should be pretty close. I've got some cheap creatures and
Yeah,
life gain.
yeah. I think it looks pretty close. I think your deck matches up pretty well against mine. Um, and
I'm
yeah,
having some trouble getting the third land, but it happens.
have you had a chance to look over the draft viewer yet?
Not the viewer itself. I saw the deck list. That's it.
Okay, yeah. I briefly looked at the viewer. You can look at my magnificent ancient crab pick.
I actually remarked
As
on that. I noticed someone took the ancient crab out of my pack. It did not come back around. I was very surprised. The pack was pretty good.
yeah. I mean, it was it was a misclick, but I didn't need it so far.
Oh, God. If you can have the luxury of just wasting a pick and still winning, all the
Yeah,
better.
why
It's
not?
like rare drafting.
I got rich to take a white card, and then moved into it was in white. Worked out
Crab,
as master strategy.
yeah,
Plus,
confused me.
I couldn't let you guys have all the ancient crabs. It looks like Jelger is like three in his sideboard or something.
Yeah, no one really wanted them besides you.
Well, no one was willing to take them quite as early, as aggressively as I did. So.
Yeah, yeah, it really confused me. I thought someone really liked blue, and I guess not.
No, no. What do you think of this format? Beside in either both in individual draft and in team draft.
Well, this is actually my first team draft of this format, but that doesn't really change much. It's all the same. In general, I like the format. I
Yeah.
think red-white is the best deck, but everyone knows that. So then, of course, it gets a lot less powerful if everyone's drafting it. So
Right.
I think anything is open.
Yeah. I mean, I find the format's pretty fast. Like at the beginning it looks like there's all these cool things you can maybe do, and then it kind of devolves into at this point where everybody's taking magma spray over like these sweet rares. I think team
Yeah,
draft kind of pulls it back a little bit again, so that the sweet rares are again good, if that
yeah,
makes
you have
sense.
to you have to play with some worse cards and less powerful cards in team draft. So the
Yeah,
beatdown strategies aren't as strong because you can't get a consistent beatdown deck very often.
right. Yeah, like I mean, I think a few of us have like pretty reasonable beatdown decks though in this
Yeah, I was
draft.
surprised. I saw your deck list. It looked pretty strong and fast.
Yeah, and I think like Jelger's deck seems pretty good to me too. I think your deck seems as well. But it
Yeah,
it seems
excellent.
like we're good to go to the match. So let's
All right,
let's
let's
go
go.
take a look in. All right.
Okay.
So we got the good guys at the bottom and the evil empire on the top.
All right.
So
Both opening hands look pretty strong. People are actually going to cast spells this game.
yeah,
It should be
that's
competitive.
That leads to better games of Magic generally. I agree.
Just at a glance, it's hard to say who's got a better hand. They're both very good.
Yeah, Steve's got a pretty solid black white zombie deck, and so does Jelger. It's interesting in that if you've watched the previous team draft super leagues, I think every other time there's only one black white zombie player. This time there's two. So of course both their decks are worse because they're splitting the cards, but they both still seem pretty solid to me.
Yeah, I saw Paul Chian's deck from the last one. That was one of the few I watched.
Oh.
And I'm guessing he's going to have the best deck of anyone in any draft.
Yeah, his deck was disgusting.
Yeah. And we watched Finkel do the draft, and from his perspective, it didn't look like he passed all that much. But,
Right.
but Chian opened up very well, and things just went perfectly. And that happens sometimes.
So it looks like Jelger's planning to cast a turn 3 start to get things rolling. After Steve adds a 4/5 and a reasonable amount of power to the board. It doesn't walk into the start here, which would blow him out.
Yeah, very well played there to not attack. But I guess with the deck list, it makes it a little bit easier. You know,
Yeah.
there's only so many options.
Yeah, Jelger's really slow rolling his lord here. He's gonna wait until he can pump up a creature to attack, I guess. It's interesting that so Jelger presumably is planning to block with his blighted bat because he could have given it haste and swung in. What do you think Jelger would block here if Steve just sends in? Yeah,
I'm not
just his
sure why he
4/5.
didn't attack, because it's unlikely the bat is going to block anything.
Right. I mean, it does theoretically threaten to quadruple block, I guess, the 4/5, but
So it looks like Steve is pulling ahead a little bit here.
yeah, he's got a similar number of creatures, but they're all bigger, right? He's got the 3/5
Once
and
the
the 4/5.
4/5 is gone, should be pretty stable though.
Yeah.
Now he's attacking.
So I think Jelger maybe just missed that, but that's okay. He's getting old.
Yeah. I think he's younger than I am, but pretty close.
So he's like 45.
Yeah, he's 45. I'm 44.
I think this is the only match actually of this event where both commentators and both players are Pro Tour champions. But
oh, that's true.
But you and Jelger have something that Steve and I will never have. Black and white photos of our last PT wins.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Also, yeah, limited PT wins.
And we could also put damage on the stack and things like that when we were playing.
Yeah, that sounds like fun, but also kind of a lot of nonsense.
Well, it's better than the rules originally were. They made a lot of improvements over time.
See, these are the things that you and Jelger and Rich know. You guys got to live the days of Team Pro Tours.
Yeah,
I think Siggy did
bring
too.
it back.
Yeah, I hope so too. Maybe if people really enjoy watching TDSL, they'll decide that Team Pro Tours are something they want to do. In the meantime, it looks like Steve continues to amass a board while Jelger's kind of just chipping away with his flyer.
It looks like he's probably going to pull ahead this game, but it's going to be close.
Yeah, Steve's been nice and patient with his removal spell here, and looks like he probably is going to get rewarded because Jelger at some point I think is going to play the Bone Picker, and he can pick it off.
Waiting. Yeah, so going back to the Team Pro Tours, I think it'd be great to do that. And I think there's a majority of pros would want to have it. That's just not how they're doing things, and the pros don't get to say how things are done.
No, the pros definitely would enjoy team tournaments, but if you look at Team Grand Prix, which they've brought back already, the pros tend to place higher at those compared to regular Grand Prix by a large margin. You yourself, of course, are the master of the last Team Limited Grand Prix, right? You've won 3 of them out of 4 or 5 that you've played now.
Three of the last 4, yeah.
Yeah.
That's been my strong suit there. But I don't get to play that often as much as I'd like. I try to get all the Team Grand Prix I can because I think it's the best format by a lot.
Yeah, it's really fun. If any of you guys watching have a chance to go and play, like for instance, GP Cleveland, I think is coming up, and you should grab a couple friends and go and play. It's just really a blast.
Yeah, and there's also one in Sydney on the same weekend, I believe.
Oh, are you going to play that one? Are you closer to that part of the
It's
world?
possible. I am much closer to Sydney, yes, but it's still quite a flight, maybe like 6 or 7 hours.
So it looks like Jelger might be starting to pull ahead a little bit here. Steve doesn't really seem to be able to attack on the ground, and the flyer still keeps blinking away. And Steve's kind of out of gas, and Jelger still has a couple spells.
Yeah, that seems to be one of the weaknesses of Steve's deck is he's got a lot of 2/2s.
Yeah.
And not much reach. If he can get another blinding mummy out there, he might be able to get through. But he needs to get rid of several blockers just to make an attack.
Right. Yeah, he doesn't really have any big kind of way to push through at the end, like a big, a overrun effect. I think. Right. He doesn't have the pump spell for zombies.
Yeah, the one that you have. Yeah.
Yeah, and it looks like he lost to you in the first round, right? Which you killed him with flyers, and seems to be potentially a weakness with his deck.
Right.
It's far from over yet, though, and I've seen Steve come out of tougher positions in this one, especially with Jelger drawing a couple lands here, which looks like he has. Anything's possible.
What can Steve draw to get out of this? I don't know his full deck. Let me see. Yeah, he's cast one of his 2 removal spells. If he draws, I guess 2 lords in a row would probably do it.
Yeah, that would be a pretty good sequence. And here's the first lord.
Right, there's the first step, and he can tap 2 things right now.
Right, so he actually gets probably make a pretty solid attack here. Let's see what 2 creatures do you think he taps? Probably.
Well, he has to be careful to not take damage on the ground from the swing back.
Right.
It's like it's getting kind of low. So he can't attack with all that much.
No, he almost certainly probably leaves the Doom to center back, right?
Yep.
And
the one.
And he'll also still have the Lord itself back if necessary. He's guaranteed to take 3 in the air. The annoying thing is that because the Lord can give menace, Steve has to watch out for that. Plus the sparring mummy. He needs to have 2 blockers for that possibly.
Yeah, so he's getting in for. Oh, he's attacking with more than I thought he would.
Yeah, I think
it don't really do very much. Maybe he's trying to bluff the time to reflect.
No, they're all +1/+1 from his Lord now.
Oh, right. So the 3/3s.
Yeah.
They can still get double blocked.
But only with the Lord, though.
I think Jelger has to. It's only pumping up 1 guy or 2 guys. So.
Right, but I think that's a very good exchange for Steve if he can trade off one of his 2/2s that are kind of like the binding mummy is doing good work, but the other zombies was basically irrelevant before this turn, right? And if he can trade it for the Lord, which is it gives Steve at least 1 more turn before he dies to the flyer. And if Jelger double blocks here, he actually is taking quite a bit of damage. So
yeah, I guess he just has to jump block with the 1/3 and the 1/1.
Yeah, I like this play by Steve tapping the 1/4 creature seems very good because it prevents Jelger from being able to block one of his 3/3s without.
Yeah, because the 2/3 just can't block right now.
Yeah. So if you're Jelger, how would you block here? So would you put the Lord and the 1/3 on the mummy? That's what it looks like he's going to do.
I don't know if you can block with the Lord at all here.
Yeah, you have to just
jump block.
Just chump block 2 things. And then with the plan, I guess, bring back you get a zombie added to your board and gain a life.
Oh, I didn't even chump block with the 1/1. I guess you can do that next turn anyway.
Right. Does he
I mean,
actually have? Does he actually get a power? Can he attack for lethal here? Doesn't look like it, right? Even if he gives, that's a strong draw for Jelger, but he doesn't actually have.
I can't see his graveyard besides the 1/3. Does he have
He
another
only has
2/3?
the 1/3 in his graveyard right now, actually. So
So it's a shame he didn't block with the 2/3. With the
yeah,
Lord.
that's one
Would
way
have
of
worked
looking
out
at
well.
it. I think it's a wonderful thing that he decided not to block with the 2/3.
Oh, I think it was the correct play, but
Yeah, I think so too. But it
so
is
here
kind of from where I'm sitting. I enjoy watching him get punished for making the right play. Something that happens if you play enough
he can
Magic.
either gain a life and embalm the 1/1 or the 1/3, or he can recast it with Gravedigger.
Yeah,
So you gotta add up the blocking and see if it matters for the 1 life without the possibility of getting it back. And it would be a 2/4 instead, also, which is useful.
that is definitely useful. I think if he just gets it back, then he ends up with 7 blockers, right? And so that's not enough to survive Steve's attack, right?
So
Because
he'll gain a life.
yeah, I'm saying if he doesn't if he just casts it like plays Gravedigger,
Right,
brings
right.
it back to his hand, and casts it, I think then he'll be at 2, and he has to double block the Cursed Minotaur. Everything else can get single blocked, leaving the 2/1/1s unblocked,
Right.
and then he would die. So to exactly lethal damage. So he has to embalm it, and he also has to play the Gravedigger for no value.
Yep. And then he's dead to a zombie.
Yeah, he's dead to a zombie here. What if Steve just
Menace
gives his
might do it
zombies
also.
menace? Yeah, I think he probably can survive that. That's not a zombie, but actually,
Oh,
he
it is a
create a
zombie.
zombie? Yeah, by
Yeah,
killing the
that's
dissenter.
dead. Yeah, that's lethal. He can kill his own dissenter, tap, and then menace. And then the other won't have enough blockers.
Will is menace actually even correct?
Oh, yeah, he might not even need menace. It's probably dead the other way too.
Well, let's look and see. It looks like Steve's probably done the math as well.
Yeah, either way he does it, it's lethal.
Yeah. Well, I like how that turned out. It was
Yeah, that
looking
was
kind of rough for Steve for a while.
yeah. The Lord was the big draw there.
Yeah, and sandbagging his 2/1 to be able to get a tap out of it was a good play. I liked how Steve played this game. And I think Jelger. I think Jelger wishes, of course, that he'd blocked with his Lord, but I think it was the correct play not to.
Yep, and
And-
the 2 damage he didn't attack with early. It didn't matter at the
Yeah.
end.
No, because he couldn't attack this turn. Otherwise, it would have taken a turn off his clock.
Yeah, it was
Actually,
a turn difference in theory, but
yeah.
it didn't end up mattering.
So we go to the sideboards here. So let's see if there's anything interesting to bring in. Steve seems to be looking at a Scarab Feast. Jelger does have a bunch of ways to bring back his creatures from the graveyard. He's got a little bit of Embalm as well as Gravedigger and Wanderer in Death.
Yeah.
As well
Seems
as Start
reasonable.
Finishes too. But so it's a reasonable card to have, I think.
Yeah, it cycles. It's very low ceiling for bringing it in. I'd bring it in for sure. And the 4/4 Angel might be good for Jelger, just because Steve
Yeah,
only
I think
has
if I were I agree. If I were
way to stop
Jelger, I
it.
would definitely bring it in. Steve has the final reward, but that's really it, right?
Yeah, and I mean, if it's blocking, I guess he could
Right.
take time to reflect.
Yeah, I think those are probably the cards that you look to bring in. Do you think you would, if you were Steve, you'd bring in the Pitiless Vizier when you're also if you're bringing in Scarab Feast?
I don't think so. I don't know what he would be taking out for it, but I doubt it. What would his option be? What is
Well,
it replacing?
it looks like he decided not to bring in the Scarab Feast, but I think it would maybe
Okay.
replace some of his Doom Dissenters, perhaps. Those cards don't actually seem that effective in the way the games often play out.
Yeah, he needs to give it -2/-2 with
Yeah.
the Soul Stinger or the Baleful Amnet. Otherwise, yeah, they're pretty useless.
So it looks like,
Well, here,
again, both players are going to get to play some Magic, hopefully.
well, Steve really needs a swamp. If he doesn't draw a
Yes.
swamp, he might be in some big trouble. He still has a few turns to draw it.
He does, yeah. He still has a couple plays, but Jelger goes ahead and finds his splash. And it looks like it's going to be a large party of bats over here.
Yeah, he's got the full set of bats. So there's
Ooh,
the swamp.
and Steve draws a swamp. That's excellent.
So that Vizier is going to be pretty good here.
Yeah. Steve will get to make just his creature will be a 3/4 that when it dies kills off a bat. So
this looks good for Steve again.
yeah, if you're Jelger, do you like would you have tried to get more aggressive with the bats, or do you like playing the mummy to try and hold your position?
Well, I think the mummy is good here, but it's not going to line up well against the time to reflect. Oh, I guess he didn't want to try. I'm not sure why Steve didn't attack.
Well, I think the thing is he can only attack with the zombies, and maybe he's trying to hold it for something later. I would probably, if I were Steve, have attacked at least with the 2/1, right?
Yeah,
Because that you don't want to trade the Binding Mummy for his bat. I can understand that, though. At this point, the trade might not even be that bad. But
well, there's another really good draw for Steve.
yeah, this works out really well for him. He gets to tap down the Sparring Mummy, and then he can soul kill his own
Yeah,
1/1 and kill off the bat, and gets to attack
yeah.
with all his creatures. It's yeah, it's definitely
Okay.
a strong draw.
Looking good for Steve again.
Yeah, Jelger's kind of stuck on playing one spell a turn, and Steve's at the point where he can do multiple things.
Yeah,
Though, if Jelger draws a land, he can play both Compulsive Rest and Splendid Agony at the same turn, and that
but
could
the agony is going to be. It's just going to kill the 2/1.
yeah. The Vizier is definitely doing work.
Now the Beetle's a good draw.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's going to be enough though. I think Jelger needs Steve to draw a land to have a chance here.
Yeah, I agree.
No, it's not a zombie at least.
Yeah, it comes back as a
Or
zombie. but
not
it's
yet.
a
Not yet.
zombie. Yeah.
Jelger can at least block this turn.
So if you're Steve, do you attack at all, and if so, what attack do you make?
Well, the Doom 1/1 can attack for sure, and the 2/1 is also kind of a free attack. So I guess I would attack with those two.
Yeah, I mean, I think you probably attack with the 2/2 and the 2/1. The obvious
Right.
block for Jelger there would be to block the 2/1 with his 1/4 and the 2/2 with the 3/3, and then you'd time to reflect away the mummy and play and return your zombie to play, or is that the line that you like there?
Well, I guess it depends on what Jelger does. Jelger's probably going to block like that, and you can either return it right away or save it for next turn to tap.
Yeah, just play out your duelist.
Yeah, I think I would play the Duelist and time to reflect and leave the 2/1 in the graveyard. Oh, he's even attacking with the 2/2.
You mean with the 1/1?
No, I would not have attacked with the Blinding Mummy because it's just going to get blocked with the Sparring Mummy.
But then you get to time to reflect it, because you can't actually time to reflect with the 1/1, because it's not a zombie.
Right, but I think Jelger would have blocked the 1/1 with his 1/4.
You think so? I think he would have blocked the 1/4 on the 2/1, especially considering that the deck lists are known. So it's kind of
Yeah, that's true.
yeah. So do you think Steve is gonna sacrifice to his Soul Singer to gain 2 life here, or is he gonna hope to draw into another one that he can put counters on and then sacrifice it?
I think he should probably sacrifice it.
It looks like his mana is going to be tight
Yeah,
because he has the zombie in the graveyard to return. That he might want to
yeah, that's going to be
do that.
going
And
forever.
yeah,
And he can always just put the counters on that or the 1/1 anyway.
right. The advantage of having the 4/5 though is that when it dies, you do get to put a counter elsewhere.
Right, you can get a -2/-2.
Yeah,
But
I
it's
think
just
actually
one- it's a
-1/-1
1
because the your vizier kind of stops you
Oh
from
yeah, that's if
doing what you want.
both. Yeah, it's not just opponent.
Yeah, right. So Curse Minotaur is a solid draw.
Yep, Steve seems to be doing very well at trying
Yeah.
exactly 5 lands and then stopping.
Do I detect a hint of salt there? I
it's
noticed
just-
that
it's just the
Jelger seems
truth.
to have Jelger seems to have 5 lands here as well. In fact, 5 lands, all 3 colors. No more lands though.
Well, Jelger has
just-
one land in his graveyard.
I mean, that land that land did replace itself. I don't know if you really count Evolving Wilds. Yeah, it gets the cycle. I'm always happy when my opponent ends up cycling Wandering Death because it means they're not going to be casting it later in the game. And Jelger drew a couple of good ones here.
Yep, he's still hanging on.
Yeah, he's. I think he's definitely still in this game. If Steve draws a couple lands, Jelger can definitely pull it out. All right, here we
Another very
go.
good draw.
I wonder though if Steve just this turn just returns his zombie to tap and get to make an attack.
Well, he can tap. He can tap by putting it on the doomed.
Yeah, but I think I like putting it on your other soul stinger instead, so that you get to sack it later and kill a creature.
Yeah, it's only -1/-1, but yeah, they'll kill a bat.
I mean, the bats are kind of the creatures that Jelger has going here. It would be pretty insane if Jelger actually drew the Lord. That would be I think the card that he needs to really pull himself back in here now. And I guess this Steve playing this means he's not going to attack.
Yeah, he's just if he gets
Yeah.
if he kills the doomed dissenter, he could attack that turn. So it's a question of how aggressive he wants to be. It looks like he's just playing the slower route.
Yep. All right. Resolve is it'll be a better draw here, I think, if Steve didn't have that Soul Singer with the counter on it. But it's still good with the Steve plan to tap down Jelger's creatures and then attack, being able to untap them and
Yeah, it'll eat something. Hopefully the Binding Mummy.
it's a cheap spell too, so it's hard for it to eat the Binding Mummy again because of Steve's ability to give -1/-1 at instant speed. Especially, but I guess
Oh, Jelger's getting very aggressive here.
yes, Jelger does have the start finish, but it does feel aggressive to me. Like his plan, just with what Steve has, if Steve draws a land, he can return his zombie, tap down the 1/4, attack with everything, and keeping up the ability to give -1/-1 to a creature.
Oh, so there's the zombie, but it doesn't. One spell a turn either way.
Yeah,
This one has
Yeah.
haste.
yeah, possibly. Though I think Steve might decide that to not give it haste for the ability. I don't know. Steve has to be very suspicious of what Jelger has at this point, right? He has 3
Yes.
cards in hand. He hasn't done anything.
So So it's probably better to get the 2/1 out of the graveyard instead, and then use the bat next turn.
Yeah, if you're gonna, because
Finish
next
them
turn you
off.
can draw land and give it haste, and attack with
Yep.
more creatures that way. I agree. So yeah, I think if I were Steve, I would return my 2/1 and tap down the 1/4, and I'd probably keep back. I'd consider at least keeping back my Vizier. I'd probably attack with everything else.
Yeah, knowing that the spreading agony is in Jelger's hand, if he knew that, he would keep back the Vizier.
Yeah, but even just playing around start finish, keeping back Vizier makes sense too, I think. And those are kind of, if you look, I played Jelger last round, and looking at his deck list, he doesn't have that many instants. You know, he's got Final Reward, he's got Splendid Agony, he's got Start Finish, he's got Jeru's Resolve, and that is it.
All right, so yeah, those are exactly what he has in his hand.
Yes. So he's drawn every instant in his deck, and yeah, so Steve's fully aware of what he could have, and so he's presumably going to play around at least one of the cards that Jelger has in his hand.
Right.
I also think the attack definitely signals something, and probably signals Resolve as one of Jelger's cards, because otherwise, you know, you probably want to keep one of those creatures back. I guess Steve here can weigh whether attacking with the Vizier is worth it, just because being unable to double block the Cursed Minotaur is definitely something. He pushes through quite a bit of damage, so
yeah,
it might just be worth it.
yeah, because Jelger has to have two things, or
Right.
he's basically just dead.
It turns out that he does have two things, so we'll actually see
Yeah.
if Steve blinks first or if Jelger blinks first. It looks like Steve's going to blink first, which is going to work out pretty well for Jelger.
It's going to be helpful, but I don't know if it'll be enough.
Yeah, I mean, if Steve didn't do anything there and just let Jelger block, like he wouldn't actually die, but it would be incredibly hard for Jelger to actually win. Whereas here, he gives him a couple more outs, I think. It's still pretty tough. He gets to block, yeah, there, and he blocks the Vizier.
Down to one.
He goes down to 1 life, but he has 3 blockers and a Splendid Agony.
The land does not help.
No, the land definitely does not.
He can attack and use the start finish if he wants to, which might be the best thing to do. So the land is somewhat useful in that regard.
Yeah, to kill off, trade for the Minotaur.
Yeah, the Minotaur, or he can Splendid Agony, just the Minotaur. If he knew the bat in Steve's hand, he'd rather not kill the Minotaur here.
Yeah.
With the spreading agony.
I think if he knew Steve's hand, right, the play would be to attack with the bat and then sacrifice it to finish off the Minotaur and hold the Splendid Agony. Without knowing Steve's hand, it's a lot tougher to say. You know, you don't really want to use that card on sacrificing your bat to kill his Minotaur, but especially here,
I don't know what else
you might think that you could kill. You might think that you can double block the Minotaur, single block the Duelist, and then finish off the other two with Splendid Agony. But the bat, of course, changes all the math there.
Yeah.
So it looks like he's.
Oh,
wow.
Well, now I think he's in really bad
I don't
shape.
think. Yeah, I'm trying to think if he can actually survive. He's going to kill off the Minotaur. And then
he's just dead.
Bat, kill 2. No, he's just dead. So looks like Steve's going to win as long as he knows that he can give the bat haste.
I would hope so.
I would certainly hope so. Steve should know that there's no prepare to fight or anything in Jelger's deck, and that bat just seals the deal.
All right. Well, what's the score in the other game?
Apparently, they were going to game 3, is what I heard. So
Okay.
that's hopeful for you guys. You managed to take a game
Well,
off
yeah,
the
it's
Great
better than not.
Lightsabers. Yeah,
Yeah, Yeager's deck looks very good.
it does. Yeah.
I don't recall passing him anything good, but this deck is good. I think he must have opened both those blue rares,
He did open both those blue rares. Yes.
and then the on-crop crasher. I'm guessing those were his 3 opens.
That's definitely possible. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna see if we can get if they're still going, if we can get their game 3 on camera. But
All right.
before that,
Hope so.
anything about that match that kind of stood out to you? Anything particular interesting, like about the zombie
Well,
mirror?
Jelger was very aggressive there. I'm
Yeah,
not sure. Even if he like attacks that turn, he's not going to kill him the turn after. So I don't know why there was a need to attack there. But it wouldn't have mattered with the way things played out anyway.
yeah. The Blighted Bat is is a card that I've liked less and less as I've drafted the format more because it's a card that you can only play aggressively and it doesn't even hit for that much damage.
Yeah,
Because
and
of
it's also a 3-drop. There's so many 3-drops in black,
Right.
which is
And,
something you talked about earlier in the format. Like the fast cards are just so much better, and you don't want too many 3-drops in your deck because that's where most of your cards are. You always have a big pile of 3-drops in every deck.
So it turns out actually that there's no game 3 to go and see because Mike Segrist won. Yeah, we dem.
Yeah, we got crushed.
Well, sometimes you eat the goat and sometimes you are the goat.
Oh, good game. Hopefully we can see you guys in the finals. Don't choke on your goats too.
Well, with that, I think I guess we're calling it a night. And good games, everyone, and good luck next week to you, Mike, and as well to Rich and Jelger.
Thanks for watching.
You can see here we've got the round 2 schedules up. Next week, it looks like that's the winner of Goat Vs. Dem Boys, which is Dem Boys, going to be taking on Madison, Wisconsin.
You'll need some good luck against them.
Are we? I mean, aren't you the master and they're the apprentice?
Oh, I was the master a long time ago.
I've heard, Matt Sperling has some joking names for the teams. My personal favorite, of course, is Dem Buys for us, which I guess we kind of showed that we were not today. But Team Madison is Team Atron's leftovers. So
I think they're all currently better than me, but
you're also a very humble person.
This should be a good match next week.
Yeah,
they probably
I hope so.
More than anyone else, except for maybe Newmont.
Yeah, definitely. And then you guys are battling Gamers Helping Gamers in the week after that, so it should be a fun one. You get to play against the GOAT himself.
Yeah, some other old schoolers we get to play against.
Yeah, it'll be like a team draft back in 1997 or something.
Oh, not that old, but yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's basically all there is. And thanks for joining us, everyone. And good night.
Bye.